Hi, this is Bobby with Grub Mud Concrete. Today we're working out in Brownsburg, Indiana, where we'll be doing a little patio addition where these pavers are, and we're also going to be doing a separate small little patio underneath that pergola. So the first thing we had to do is remove this decorative rock, and she had a rock bed right there to the left where we just put it all in because she wanted to save it. And we also had to remove the pavers, and there wasn't a whole lot of digging where the pavers were, but we did have to dig a little bit out here where this decorative rock was. But like I said, she wanted to save some of it, so we just put it in a rock bed she had that was real low, and they could do whatever they wanted to with it afterwards. As you see, when we start digging some of this, we start hitting some roots and stuff. We always bring a sawzall with us and an axe just in case. You never know what you're going to hit up here in Indiana. I hear a lot of you guys talk about clay and how it's such a bad thing. And here in Indiana, it's actually a good thing, as long as it's compacted clay like that right there. So Josh is setting our form, and so we could put a form liner on here. If you've seen any of my videos in the past, we've used these form liners, and they're really, really awesome looking when you strip them. So you can use them as a form. All you got to do is use your full piece where your bend is, and then you can screw it to your board, and then about every 8 inches, every 10 inches, and then you can come back and you can put some wooden stakes in, and it'll help hold them in tight. These form liners are they're so flexible, you could actually wrap them in a circle if you wanted to, but they're also strong enough they can hold concrete back. But like I said, you can stake them off with some wooden stakes in it, and they become your form themselves. So anytime you're doing this, though, you want to use a full piece, and then use your piece ends in the middle because they're only 8 foot long. These are Proline form liners. If you've ever used anything Proline, you know that they are the best products, the best stamps, and there's some other good companies out there, but Proline is right there at the top. So they're getting this pretty close with the flat shovel and the regular shovel. One thing we did have to do is we had to chip off some of this concrete around these posts, so the concrete could be at the right height around there and it wouldn't be a cracking point. Another thing we did was we cut some joints off of it when we poured. So we go back about 8 feet off of the existing concrete, and we put a pin. And then what we did is we connected a string to it. And what Josh is doing, he's driving these on what you call a pin line. We don't normally form like this, but when we're up in the bushes like this, it's kind of hard to form the other way. So one reason I don't like to form like that is your string always seems to get caught between the stake and the board. But it is kind of nice putting all your pins in and just screwing it right to the pins. This is called drilling dowels. You want to do this about every 2 feet when you got an small little existing pour like this. Sometimes you'll want to use expansion, or it just depends on. Sometimes you don't want to use dowels. It just depends on the situation. But in this one, we went ahead and used dowels because we wanted everything locked together. There you can see those are drilled about every 2 feet. And we did add some stone right there and compacted it. So we're using SRM today. They're a real reputable company out of Indianapolis. They got some really good mud. We went with the high range water reducer in this because it was like 90, 95 degrees out. That allows us to be able to pour a higher slump, which means wetter concrete. Gives us a little bit more time to work with it. We had a really long wheel to the backyard. Here you can see how long of a wheel it is. We just had Justin and Josh wheeling today. Like I said, it was just maybe 2.5 yards. The neighbor was gracious enough to let us wheel up their driveway. They kind of shared a property line. It was kind of weird, but their mulch beds and stuff kind of stuck out in each other's property lines. It was real weird, but the neighbor was really cool, let us wheel up it. And anytime anybody lets you do something like that, just make sure you keep their property clean. And if you do get it dirty, clean up a mess that you make. Here's Josh bringing it in. little halfy. That's what we told him. Bring some half wheelbarrows because it was such a long wheel, and I didn't want to get, even though we had the existing concrete completely taped off and um, some sheeting over it and some rubber mats over it, I still didn't want him to bring them completely full. So what I do is I use my Derby around it, and we put our expansion up against that wall. But I use my Derby underneath of it because it's a bigger float, and I can get it flatter with it. And then what I do, after I get it up to about get enough mud in there, I'll get it floated off, and then I'll strike off up to that post, and then I'll float it out again. Let me know if you like these different angles I got. Went ahead and had a couple extra cameras. I thought it was kind of cool. You know, we don't have all the high technology as some of these other channels, but I think I do some pretty cool stuff with it. If you guys like it, I'll keep on doing it. If not, I'll just keep with the one camera I got. But we're running 3 cameras now, and it's kind of cool leaving 2 stationary and then one that I can just do like I used to. But we have about 20 videos that we have on YouTube, a lot of form liner stuff, and you guys asked for me to do a detailed video on form liners. There's not a whole lot to them, but they are kind of expensive, but they're worth every single penny of it. If you like what you're seeing here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for me. It would help grow our channel. So I struck off both sides, and then I come out the back here and I sneak through those bushes, but I pull off the little bit of extra mud that we had right off the back of the form, and I clean it up the next day. I think it's the best way to strike off, pull off your post, each post, and then come out the back. There you see I didn't have very much extra mud, just a little bit. And I knew we had plenty of concrete ordered, so my dad kind of struck that off while I was finishing off the rest. And when you're using these form liners, make sure you scrape the top of them off, because you want a nice, clean, crisp line right there where it comes up to. So you get it scraped off once, then you float to the top like you normally would on any other concrete. But you can go back later and scrape them off. So this is all floated off. We just gotta wait for that water reducer to do its trick. And we gotta edge and cut some joints in it. So we're just kind of waiting. There that is. We like to run a 6-inch edger. There I started cutting joints on my post. I cut it 3 ways off these posts. I couldn't cut a joint underneath the railing there because it was too low. But here's my dad. He's cleaning off the form and the form liner the second time, and then we're filling in or floating off our lines from our joints. You can see how I cut it 3 ways. I also cut a joint there in the back where Josh is floating and edging, just to give it a cracking point right off the back. When you're floating up against the wall, sometimes you'll have to pull some cream up. I couldn't really get a good angle to push any cream up, so what I did was I kind of just scraped some up. But you don't want any water standing on your wall. It's very, very important not to have water sitting on your pad. So you got to get all your elevations right, double check them. But like I said, when you're striking off around something real tight like this, you'll have to put some cream up against the wall. I opted to use this joiner because I could get into, I could hold it on the top and get in these little tighter sections a little easier, and I could get a cleaner, crisper joint. Now we're all ready for a broom. I actually didn't get the brooming on video. Sorry about that. My dad pushed the wrong button when he was recording. But this is a penetrating sealer I'm putting on it. It's just going to protect the surface of the concrete. And then last thing, don't take your tape off before you seal it. But yeah, last thing, just clean up. But look how clean and crisp the existing concrete is when you do this. Like I said in my last videos, I'm going to start doing it all the time. Go through some painter's tape, but it's worth it. And you see how we put painter's plastic over the pergola piece. It makes for an easy cleanup. It's a lot harder to get new concrete off of existing than it is to peel some tape off. But you can see how sweet these form liners look at the end. But this is all done. We'll come back the next day and strip it. Nice clean joints. Here it is the next day, backfilled, and the form liners. See, you don't use an edger on them. You just you float right to it, and look how sweet that looks. And then here's the piece that she's going to have a hanging swing from on her pergola. Again, if you like what you're seeing here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It'll help grow our channel. And we appreciate you watching. Have a wonderful evening.